I'm 97 years old now. That's the first thing people notice when they meet me. Not my name, not what I did for a living, just the number, 97. It hangs in the air like a warning. Most of the people I once knew are gone. My wife has been gone 12 years. My brother even longer. The friends I drank coffee with every morning slowly disappeared one chair at a time until the table felt too big for just me. When you live this long, the world doesn't really belong to you anymore. It keeps moving, faster every year, while you sit still and remember. And lately, I've been remembering my 30s, not my childhood, not the war years, not even when my children were born, my 30s. Because that's where everything quietly went wrong. The strange thing is, at the time, it all looked perfectly fine. When I was 30, I thought I had finally figured life out. I had a steady job at an insurance company downtown. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid well enough. We had a small house with a narrow porch and a yard just big enough for a swing set. My wife, Margaret, used to sit on that porch in the evenings with a glass of iced tea. She had a way of watching the street like it was a little theater show. Kids riding bikes, neighbors walking their dogs. She always noticed things I didn't. Back then, I believed my job was simple. Work hard, provide, keep everything stable. That's what a good man did. That's what my father did. So every morning, I left the house before the sun was fully up. And most nights, I came home when the porch light was already on. I told myself it was temporary, just a few busy years, just until we were more secure, just until the promotion came through. There's a phrase you'll hear a lot in your 30s. Just for now. I said it constantly. Margaret would ask if we could take a weekend trip somewhere. Just not right now, I'd say. Things are busy. My son would ask if I could come watch his baseball game. Next one, buddy, I promise. My daughter once waited at the window for 2 hours because I told her I'd be home early to help with her school project. I didn't make it. That night she went to bed before I got there. The project was sitting on the kitchen table, half finished, with dried glue on the edges. I remember looking at it while reheating dinner, and I remember thinking, I'll make it up to her this weekend. But weekends filled up too. Work dinners, yard work, bills, fatigue, Life looked full, but somehow the important parts kept getting postponed. Your 30s are dangerous that way. You feel young enough to delay things and old enough to feel responsible for everything. It's a strange middle ground where you believe time is still generous. I thought I had decades to be present. I thought my children would stay small a little longer. But time doesn't make announcements when it's leaving. It just leaves. One afternoon, when I was 36, Margaret asked if we could sit outside for a while after dinner. Nothing special, just sit. I remember the moment clearly because I almost said no. I had reports to finish, but she looked tired in a quiet way I hadn't noticed before. So I sat. The sun was setting behind the houses, and the sky had that soft orange color it gets right before dark. Our kids were chasing each other in the yard, yelling about something only children understand. Margaret leaned back in her chair and said something simple. "You're missing it." I asked what she meant, and she gestured toward the yard. "This part," she said. I laughed a little and told her I was doing all this for that part, for the kids, for the house, for the future. She didn't argue. She just nodded slowly. Sometimes the quiet responses stay with you longer than the arguments. Years passed. Promotions came. Responsibilities grew. My 30s turned into my 40s, almost without my permission. The house got quieter. The swing set in the yard eventually disappeared. I don't even remember the day it was taken down. My son stopped asking if I could come to his games. My daughter started closing her bedroom door more often, not out of anger, just growing up. And by the time I had more time to give them, they didn't really need it anymore. That realization sneaks up on you. You think you're building something for your family, and you are. But while you're building it, they're living their lives without you. The turning point came when I was 52. Margaret got sick. At first, it seemed like something small, just fatigue, a cough that wouldn't leave. Doctor's appointments turned into tests. Tests turned into long conversations in quiet offices. Cancer. It's a word that makes the room smaller. We had 3 years after that. 3 years that felt both long and terribly short. When someone you love is dying, time behaves strangely. Days feel endless, Years disappear. I started coming home early. I canceled meetings. I ignored phone calls. Suddenly, I had all the time in the world to sit beside her on that same porch. But the porch felt different now. One evening near the end, she looked at me with a tired smile, and she said something I still hear sometimes when the house is quiet. We could have had so many more evenings like this. Not accusing, not bitter, just true. She died in the spring. The yard was full of birds that morning. I remember that clearly. Too much life outside the window. After the funeral, people slowly went back to their lives, and I was left in a house filled with the results of all those hard-working years. The promotions, the savings, the comfortable furniture, everything I once thought mattered. But the evenings were silent, and silence has a way of showing you things you missed. Now I'm 97. My hands shake a little when I hold my coffee. My steps are slower than they used to be, but my mind still walks through those old years sometimes, especially my 30s. Not because they were terrible, because they were ordinary. That's where most regret lives, not in dramatic mistakes, but in the quiet assumption that tomorrow will always be there waiting. If you're in your 30s right now, you probably feel busy, responsible, needed in 100 directions. And maybe you believe what I believed, that presence can wait, that the people you love will still be there when things calm down. Maybe they will, but the version of them you're postponing time with won't be. Children grow into adults. Partners grow older. Parents disappear. And one day you'll sit somewhere very quiet, like I am now, holding a cup of coffee with unsteady hands, and you'll realize life wasn't really asking for perfection. It was just asking for you to be there, not later, not once things are settled, just there, while it was happening. I can't go back to that porch in my 30s, but sometimes I close my eyes and I can almost hear Margaret's chair creaking beside me, the kids laughing in the yard, the evening air moving through the trees. It was all there. I just thought there would be more of it. If this old man's memories mean anything to you, maybe sit a little longer tonight with the people who matter. The dishes can wait. Work will still be there tomorrow. But evenings like those, they're quieter than you think. And they disappear faster than you ever expect.